Greetings friends, with this video I start a series of videos about the inimitable Brigitte Bardot. Here we go. How was school? Her father asked calmly. Brigitte threw him a frightened look and realized that he knew everything. It was useless to argue. Brigitte was skipping school. The next second, her father loudly called out the name of the man who had caused her to drop out of school. Vadim. Love at 15 is certainly not uncommon, but in the Bardot family we're not ready for such a thing. You will not see him until adulthood. Parents were waiting for a boy. Bardot factories needed an heir. But September 28, 1934, in the 15th arrondissement of Paris, a girl was born, which 2 weeks later was baptized as Brigitte Anne-Marie. Louis Bardot's forehead instantly showed a displeased crease. Not only that, not a son, but also a young wife only does what is spinning at the cradle. That's why Brigitte was assigned an Italian nanny, Dada, very early. Now Mrs. Bardot again could accompany her husband in social outings and a good night's sleep. Your name, monsieur, will be known throughout the world. Once predicted Louis Bardot. Prososenaviashi, he proudly told about it. It means that the business of the factories will go afill. And when his wife was once again in hardship, he awaited the appearance of the child with great excitement. You have a sister. One morning informed Dada, little Brigitte. Disappointment in the Bardot family became enormous. Again, not a boy. Dad and Mom, Brigitte Bardot later wrote, could not be called a model married couple. In their relationship, there was affection, tenderness, but judging by the separate bedrooms, hardly great love. How often my sister and I were startled to see Dad slamming doors with an angry face. He would overturn a chair, throw a napkin. Mom would sob. One day, the quarrel was so serious that Dad packed a suitcase to leave Mom for good. Mom threw herself on her knees. We stood there, dumbfounded. Dad jumped out onto the balcony. We lived on the 6th floor. I can still see Dad hovering over the bars, and Mom clung to him. Dad, thank God, had regained his sanity. Brigitte and Meganu, her younger sister, traveled in the summer to their grandmother's estate near Paris, or to their father's parents in Ligny and Barrois. Occupying a strong position at the top of the middle class, the women in this family never worked. Brigitte's childhood world was woven of roses in her grandmother's garden, the tenderness of her favorite nanny, silk pillows, and bronze figurines on elegant dressers. In 1939, all the dressers and cupboards were full of provisions. Her mother realized in time to stock up on food. Sometimes in the middle of the night, when the siren was blaring, the whole family would rush to the basement. World War II was beginning. When Brigitte fell ill, the doctor categorically forbade her dampness, and she had to wait out air raids upstairs in her room. June 3, 1940, German planes dropped about 1,000 bombs on Paris. During the raid, Meganu and Brigitte, along with their mother, knelt in the living room and prayed fervently. I still can't hear the howling of the sirens without shuddering, Brigitte Bardot later wrote. But life went on. Lessons began in 2 schools, regular and dance. Mother did not believe too much in the success of her daughter, often repeating, "She's not pretty, our Brigitte." The older girl was angular and thin, not like the round Meganu. And Meganu studied better. No wonder her parents favored her. Soon there was a real rift in the family, all because of a child's mischief. Left alone with the maid when the parents went to visit someone, the girls went wild. They pretended to be Indians, hiding under the parlor table. And then one of them pulled too hard on the tablecloth. It slid to the floor, and behind it, a priceless Chinese vase. Madame Bardot, learning about what happened, sat her daughters in front of her. "From this day forward, you are strangers to us," she said coldly. "You will address us as you, and everything here is not yours. You are guests here." My own family began to seem alien to me, Brigitte wrote years later. In August 1944, Paris was liberated and hundreds of flags appeared on the streets. Above the balcony of Bardot's apartment also hung French flags. Carefully balancing, Brigitte personally attached them higher. She perfectly kept her balance. She had just enrolled in ballet school. Brigitte had been selected from 150 applicants. She finished her first year with flying colors, becoming one of the best students. The fact that Brigitte was doing so well came as a surprise to her family. An even more surprise they experienced when the girl was offered to shoot for a women's fashion magazine. In evening and cocktail dresses, we need a girl from society, assured Madame Bardot, editor of Jardin de Mode. And that became the decisive argument. Seeing the ugly girl Brigitte, the editor of another magazine, Elle, suggested a cover photo. She has a missing profile, the writer Françoise Sagan once said of Brigitte. But only the magazine did not know about it, and at the age of 15, Brigitte again got on the fashion cover. These photographs changed the young ballerina's life. Director Mark Gallagher saw them and one day knocked on the Bardot family's door. He explained that Brigitte would fit perfectly into his new picture. Family council lasted a long time, until the decisive word did not say the grandfather. Let the girl will have a chance. After all, it remains to be seen what will come out of it. At the audition she came, on cotton legs. She was constrained, did not know how to hold herself properly in front of the camera. A flock of pretty girls, looking at Brigitte, made caustic jokes. She almost cried. "Are you shivering?" A man's voice asked softly. "I'm crying," sobbed Brigitte. That was how she met Vadim. He helped her with advice on the first day, brought her coffee, and then walked her home. The family had to offer the guest dinner. You can't forget your manners. But this young man with long hair and wearing a simple sweater seemed to Madame Bardot quite out of place. "Count the spoons," she demanded of the servant. But only that evening Vadim took away with him not silverware, but the heart of Brigitte. She was 15, and she began to skip school. In the morning she would go to Vadim's house, even though she should have been going to school. The sun-drenched bus, the excitement, the joy, and then one day it came to light. Her father's summary was categorical. "You won't see him until you're of age." To be continued. Thank you for your attention. Please support the channel by subscribing and this video by liking and commenting.